Alexis Nunes alongside Janusz Michallik. Quite a couple of entertaining 3 p.m. games here in the UK, in the Premier League. We're focusing on Manchester City, Fulham. City just sneaking past the London club. Janusz, I don't think many people would have expected Fulham to hold Man City as they were drawing for quite a few times. There was a red card for Joao Cancelo, but Fulham did what they did. Then Erling Haaland came to the rescue. We'll get to the Haaland chat in a bit, but overall, what did you think Fulham was doing, I suppose, so well that held City for so long?
Well, I think Alexis, we've seen Fulham how good they've been. A massive surprise, right? Many of us, I think, I can't remember. I won't admit, but I think I had it drop in maybe being relegated in the end. But Marco Silva obviously has turned this team around. First, let's acknowledge right away, right off the bat, before I forget. I mean, they started this game, without Alexander Mitrovic, who we all know how important he's been to scoring goals, right? So when you miss him in any game, but when you go away to play City, certainly one player that you want to have. On the flip side, Manchester City, have the quality of bringing Foden and Erling Haaland off the bench, and as we all know, Erling Haaland played a big role in all that in the end. Anyway, but I think this is, when I look at this game, and let's be honest from the beginning, Manchester City fully deserved to win this game. When you look at this, but Fulham took advantage of what Manchester City give you from time to time, because they always play that high line. And when we say high line, only two teams play it like that consistently throughout 90 minutes, and that's Liverpool and Manchester City. And it seems to me that Manchester City are even higher. And the benefits outweigh the risk of that, but every so often you're going to pay the price, and they almost did. They did in a way that they, the red card happened for Cancelo because Harry Wilson got behind him, 100% penalty and red card, no questions about that. And actually, Harry Wilson did that while it was still 1-1 in the second half. It was interesting to see because it was almost identical. This time he got behind Nathan Ake, just wasn't fouled, and his left-footed attempt went wide, but it was very similar. So you're going to get those. The question is, are you going to take advantage of that? I think they did initially, of course, as it was 1-1. So fair play to Fulham because they didn't have to lose this game. However, you have to give it to Manchester City with 10 men. Alexis, they didn't look any different, right? I remember in training, we often play with a man down to replicate that, what happens when it does happen. I don't think City do that for that reason. They could right, they could have played that probably with 9 men. I'm not taking anything away from Fulham, and still be able to find a way to win. So, I mean, absolutely dominant with 10 men in the second half. And if you just look at the way they play, they deserve the points.
Well, apologies if you hear any explosions going on in the background. There's a lot of fireworks being set off in the UK today for a different reason. But when we're talking about fireworks, we know that when Erling Haaland comes on, there's all sorts of fireworks, especially when he links up with Kevin De Bruyne. And today we saw that once again as he came on. He had 2 big contributions, 1 goal disallowed. Let's start there. What did you think of that one?
Well, it's so tight. I mean, you have to trust the VAR and all those lines, I suppose, right? I mean, it was very, very tight. Ultimately, maybe they got it right. The goal itself was beautiful and something that we are used to because it was that combination between De Bruyne and Haaland, and the ball from De Bruyne was just absolutely outstanding. And again, when they're healthy and now Haaland's back, we're going to see more of that as the season goes on. That's for sure. But you have to trust the VAR that this was the right decision. And then he took the penalty. It was a winner, 95th minute, that Bernd Leno should have saved. It wasn't his best, but it doesn't matter how they go in as long as they go in. The question, of course, will be about should that be a penalty in the first place? And rather than sitting on the fence, because I can sort of understand it. We've seen them coming. There was contact from Anthony Robinson, the American fullback. It wasn't much. And if I were referee, I wouldn't have given it. I don't think it was a penalty. It's funny because, Kevin De Bruyne is not one to dive, but you could see how unnatural it looked for him to go down. He was looking for it. When he felt the contact, he just realized, I better go down. But you know what? I don't know how to. And if you really don't trust me, go take a look. And for those that played the game at any level, even if you're playing with your friends, you will know a player that can sell a penalty. You will also recognize a player that's not used to doing it and it doesn't look right. And that did not look right. The rest, there's some, there's contact. There's no denying that. I think a little bit naive from Anthony Robinson at that stage to charge the way he did. He stopped himself, and I don't think that's enough contact at this stage to give a penalty. I just don't. But you learn as you go, I suppose. But Kevin De Bruyne will tell you eventually, whenever that eventually was, that, hey, I knew I had to go down. I just didn't really know how to. And when he looks at that, he's going to smirk to himself. I'm sure of that.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.